Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for checking this video. If you want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. But even if you don't, enjoy and happy coding. Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to this quick review about the new version of Oxygen Builder, an amazing theme builder for WordPress. If you've been following my videos or my channel for the past year, you probably remember that I did a tutorial, I did a full video review about Oxygen app. And at the time I was really impressed about the capability of that application, or that like really simple and small plugin to overcome and sit on top of WordPress and allow pretty much every user to build a complete theme, a complete template from scratch without being limited to have like a single page builder or just some shortcodes or stuff like that. Having a fully fledged visual builder, visual template builder to allow you to create whatever you want on any installation of WordPress. Well, there's a new version coming out, version 2, and the name change is not Oxygen app anymore, but it's Oxygen Builder, and I wanted to check it with you and just to see how it changed and if the developers of Oxygen Builder were able to fix all those issues and all quirky things that we found out together in version 1. So let's take a look. Before starting, full disclosure, this is a paid review, but don't worry, I'm gonna be 100% honest, and whenever I find something that I don't like about the Oxygen Builder, I'm gonna say it. It's not that this review is gonna be totally fake just because it's a paid advertisement. So just enjoy and let me know what you think about Oxygen Builder. So first of all, if we go to oxygenapp.com, you're gonna see this massive red banner that it tells you that Oxygen app is being discontinued. So version 1 and version 2 cannot be upgraded. So if you have version 1, you need to basically do a full backup, install version 2, and finger crossed all your data will be recognized, but you cannot do a simple upgrade. In fact, there's a full new website, a full new version that is completely detached from Oxygen app. If you go to oxygenbuilder.com, you're gonna see this website that it says in the banner it's under construction, but it starts listing a bunch of new edition of Oxygen Builder, the version 2, with all the things that we could expect from the new version when it gets released. And based on the reviews, based on the users that they use it, like I'm pretty positive. And also there's a really extensive design library that allows you to build something without spending too many hours in just like creating every single component by yourself. But let's take a look on the actual builder. So I installed the plugin, and the plugin is really light. It's just like less than 3 megabytes. So you install it, and as soon as you activate it, the first thing that you see is this message that asks you what you want to do. Do you want to have a pre-made installed website with like a pre-made theme? So it's gonna basically install and grab a design for you and generate the website for you. And this is really helpful if you need to create a design, or if you need to create a website for a client that you just need like a proof of concept or an MVP, and you need something quick and easy to do and just easy to update. But I'm gonna start with the blank installation because of course I want to do all the things by myself because I'm a nerd and I like to do this thing. So like in version 1, after activating, if you try to access the front website, you will notice that everything was overwritten. Oxygen Builder is not just a plugin, it's a fully fledged theme builder. So it's not gonna just override a single section, or it's not gonna just allow you to update small things via shortcode. You will have the ability to build the entire website without never leaving your website, without never coding anything, which is pretty amazing. Sometimes, even as a developer, I find this super helpful, and it's really hard to find a good template builder that is capable of giving you this flexibility without bloating your website with a bunch of crap. But let's take a look if it actually works. So if we access the plugin, the Oxygen, we have like the usual introduction here. It's pretty straightforward. We have the ability to create some templates, and that's the first thing that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a template that has the header and the footer, and those two elements will be always repeated in all the pages of the theme that I'm gonna build. So I'm gonna create a new template, and I'm gonna call it like default template. I'm gonna publish it. As soon as we publish a new template, the interface changes and Oxygen kicks in and asks you to customize this template. What do you want to do? We can definitely start editing, but before starting editing, I want to set up when this template needs to be used. So here you can see we have the ability to inherit some design from another template. So this gives us the ability to have a variation of a pre-existing template that we just generated, but we don't have anything. This is completely new, so we can start. We have the ability, and this is really modular and really cool, we have the ability to select where this template should be used. We can use this template just on specific custom post type or just some specific archive pages, or we can simply set catch all. That means the template will be used in every single page if we don't have any other variation. But we're gonna take a look at how to deal with variations later. And then we have the template priority, which is really great because could happen that you have a template that catches all and then you have another template that gets applied only to the single post or just a custom post type. If those two templates, they basically sit on top of each other because you set them up in that way and you forgot that a template is used when another template was already used in the beginning, you can set the template priority so you can be sure that always the template that you decide will be used before another one, which is pretty fantastic. You can click update, and after the update we can edit it with Oxygen. So this is one little thing about this template builder, is not hooked automatically to the Ajax asynchronous autosaving of WordPress. So whenever you edit something, you have to update the page, you have to actually save the page in order to use the changes that you define. It doesn't autosave like with WordPress, so always remember that. Let's click on edit with Oxygen, and after a couple of seconds of loading, there you go. We have this blank template builder that looks kind of like all the design software that we're used to use. So it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy. Let's define the header and the footer and a section, like a custom content section that we want to use in our template. So automatically the system recognizes all the stuff that we have in our WordPress installation. So if you have some blog posts, if you have some archives, some specific uncategorized or custom index, you can pull that content by selecting and previewing the content in here. That of course we don't have any section or components, so nothing will be visualized. We can click and open the structure and see the HTML structure and expand it and move it. It's basically like a layer inspector. Then we can manage this page by accessing the settings, the style sheet, or selecting some specific things. We can go back to the front end or the administration area of WordPress, and of course we can save it. The interface compared to version 1 is really straightforward. It's way more linear, less bloated, and less confusing. So it's just really easy to use. So when we decide to add a new component, we have these components separated by category, which makes our life easier. We have all these usual stuff that we can find in any regular page builder. Then we have some helpers that can give us the ability to build some more complicated components, but already built for ourselves. We don't have to construct those components. We have also the ability to pull directly some pre-built options of WordPress, like the menu, the comments, the login form, search, or like the shortcode if we have any shortcode. And we can also pull widgets and dynamic data from within WordPress without us coding anything, which is pretty impressive. Another thing, we have a library, and this is really helpful because in the library we have a bunch of design sets that we can use, and you can see how easy and snappy the UI is. In the first version of Oxygen, the UI was kind of like clunky. There were a lot of animations that were kind of like a little bit useless. They weren't introducing anything exciting or anything important to the user experience. This UI is really fast, really simple, really flat, and it's really easy to use. So let's grab an atomic design type of library. Let's access the section and element, and I want to have the header. So I'm going to select an header. Look at that. This is really fast to navigate. So I want to have a really simple header. Maybe something light, yes, header, sign up. And there you go. Automatically the header we selected gets attached to the page and pulls the first menu that we have in our administration area. You didn't say it, but I generated a menu in my spare time, like before starting this tutorial. I just have a regular primary menu that is not even checked as a primary menu. So automatically the Oxygen Builder grabs the first menu that it finds in your administration area and puts it directly in the header that you selected, which is pretty amazing. And now we have full control on this header. We can generate and update the behavior of this header however we want. And we have a bunch of options for the header. We can manage how he behaves in responsive, if it turns sticky on it stacks vertically, or how it interacts in the page container. And we have also the ability to preview how it looks in a different scenario, which is pretty fantastic. Look at that. We can interact with the actual menu and see how it behaves on responsive. We can adapt the page container and automatically the design will update. Automatically the component will behave based on how it was developed. We have a bunch of options where we can generate and how we can edit pretty much everything. And I'm not gonna go through all the options to edit this thing because there are a lot of options. You have really full control on everything that you can do. So let's update just a little bit this layout just to make it a little bit more personal. So I want this, for example, to be like a light gray background. The interesting thing is that because there are so many options, it gets kind of overwhelming after a little bit if you're editing a lot of things in this component. But the good thing is that in the advanced section, every time you update something, there's this a little glowy rectangle, like it's like an indicator on every section that will give you the overview of all the things that you actually edited on that specific menu or that specific component. So you're not gonna spend too much time clicking around not knowing what you edited or where you can change that specific things to revert back. Automatically the system will tell you, hey, you edited this section, which is pretty fantastic. So as you can see here, you have all the options to update a specific component based on all the CSS properties that you can control on a really simple HTML element. So let's select the icon here. We can change the image URL like the logos. Automatically, Oxygen Builder will use the built-in media uploader of WordPress, which is super fantastic. That's the thing that I like. Let's select my logo and select image, and automatically it's gonna get updated. And here we can control the height of this thing. And of course, because we didn't specify the height of the actual container, the container will adapt based on the height of the element, which is pretty freaking cool, right? So let's say 70 pixels is pretty great. So let's select this background color. Let's go my usual red. Oh, you guys, it's gonna be really tough for you to handle this, but yeah, advanced. Now let's change this menu a little bit because of course it's like doesn't work. It's just like really hard to see. But yeah, the text, we can change the color of the text. I'm gonna go completely white, of course, so it's as readable as possible. Everything is uppercase. I like it. I want a different font style, and automatically it recognizes, oh wow, I have access to all the web fonts that I have installed in my system, which is pretty great. So let's do this. Let's change it to Railway, and let's give it 200 on Railway, and the height. Oh, we can also update the font smoothing, subpixel. Look at that. Look how it changes the font smoothings. Now let's change this button a little bit and let's see how it interacts with the hover effect. So I want the text color to be actually red, and then the hover color, when we go on rollover, it turns white. Okay, so if we try, yes, it works as supposed. Then the background, I want the background color to be completely white, and then let's go back in the border section. The border color should be none. I don't want any border color, so when we go on rollover, advanced background. Okay, this is the button that I want, and when it goes on rollover, it turns red, but I want a darker red to be like more obvious. So in order to control the state of a link of a button, you have these drop down, and you can control the 4 different states of whatever HTML element. You have the original state, the hover, before and after. And you notice that the hover is kind of like glowish, and you have an X to remove this kind of state. That means that the hover state was already customized, and you have something that you can control. So if we select the hover state, you notice the button directly goes into the hover state. So we have a full preview on how it's gonna look and how it's gonna interact. So I want to do something slightly darker. That's perfect. And then I want to go back to the original state, and I want to change actually the text. I want this to be also railway, and then I want a font size to be 13, font weight to be 200. Ooh, too much. So let's say 600, that's perfect. Line height, I want 1. Letter spacing, it's okay like this. Font style, normal. Text decoration, no. Text transform, no. That's perfect. I want this. Okay. And then we can change. Okay, so now, another amazing cool thing about Oxygen Builder. So first, let's save all our progress, because otherwise we're gonna completely forget what we did. Another amazing thing, so I have this behavior of this button. I wanna basically apply the same exact behavior to the sign up. Instead of recreating the same things and just setting the background, the color, I can set a class to this button and use the same class to customize the other button. So let's say that I select the login button that I customize. I click on ID here, and I have the ability to enter a new class. So I can call it, for example, my-button, and add a class, and I can start customizing this class. So you notice that as soon as I created the class, all the settings are basically, they disappear, because the settings that we define, all the CSS properties that we define, are actually applying to the link ID of this specific button. So as you can see, if I select the ID, I have the color and the text. That's a thing that you have to be careful, and that's a thing that I wish it was kind of like more obvious. Sometimes I forget which section I'm editing. I'm editing the class, I'm editing the ID, I'm overriding the default atomic small button outline class, or I'm doing something different. So that's the thing, is just kind of tricky. Always keep an eye of what you're editing. If you're editing the ID, you cannot reuse that ID. But if you're editing a class, for example, let's say the my button, we want the text color once again to be red, and then the hover color goes to white. Background, we can define once again all these regular things. So let's go white background, and then we define the hover state for this. The background goes to red, but a little bit darker, something like this. And then the typography, the color goes white when we go and roll over, so we see okay. If we have this class now, if we save it, we go in sign up and we add another class. So let's say my button, add class, automatically you see what happened. That button, because we applied the my button class, he inherited the same options and the same style of what we defined before. Of course, it's slightly different because we didn't update the border, we didn't update things. So that's kind of something that you always have to keep in mind. Always remember and always keep an eye of what class or ID you're editing, because it could be kind of annoying. Like, it could happen at the same time also for the menu. So right now we have the menu here and we have some specific rollover effect. We edited some things. If we want to edit and we want to check where our CSS editing have been applied to which class or which element, we need to see like if it's applied to an ID or a class. In this case, it's applied to an ID. So we cannot reuse these as a reusable component. We cannot reuse this class and apply it to another menu or another navigation bar because it's assigned to an ID. If we wanted to make it reusable, we need to define the class before starting editing all these things. Let's edit a bunch of things here also. So if we change the state to hover, we see that the full menu changed completely to hover, and we can actually manage this stuff. So I'm not selecting a single link, I'm selecting the full menu, and you can see here we have different options. We can select, if we have many different menus, we can update and select which menu we want to visualize. We have full control on the text, the spacing, and the hover and active effects for that specific menu. That's where we have to edit. We're not editing anymore just a simple CSS, we're editing the actual over effect of the menu. So you can see here we have the over effect, we can change it to a more like dark tone of red so we can recognize it, which is perfect. Now let's say that I want to give more padding to this. This is interesting. There's not an doesn't exist an option, it seems like, to automatically, like it was happening in the version 1, to automatically edit top and bottom padding or top and bottom margin at the same time to make it like this is the same value. I can apply to all and apply these 20 pixels to left and right, but I don't want to do it. I want to actually just edit top and bottom, something like that. But I guess it will be okay like this. Okay, this is what I wanted. Look at that, nice. I have the rollover effect. I have the regular state of the menu. I can roll over. I have these really ugly buttons that I don't want to change. It's just an example. That's perfect. So let's update the menu and let's give it a sample page here. Let's put it right here. And then I want to give the posts also to my menu just so I can access some default sections of WordPress and I can see how it works. So if I refresh my page builder, I should see the menu updated. That's perfect. So now I'm seeing the first page, Hello World, which is fantastic. I can go to the sample page and automatically the sample page is selected. Okay, let's go take a look on how actually it looks outside the builder. So there you go. This is the visualization, whatever is happening here. And of course, whenever we access something, for example, we're accessing the Hello World, that is the default post of WordPress, nothing is here because we completely removed everything. So we don't have anything to visualize in this section. We can apply some specific sections, some specific custom things to the page builder, and we're gonna do it in a second. And all these links, they don't work, of course. We can access the sample page and the Hello World because these are two actual content of WordPress. But if we activate the responsive, see how it interacts. Look at that, automatically it's responsive. And we have like the ability to open the menu, close in, and then it stacks also if we go. Look at that, this is really nice. So this is all automatic. I haven't done anything in this CSS. I haven't done any heavy customization. It's like really straightforward and it looks pretty good. It's just amazing. Like in a few minutes, we can create a header. Let's speed up a little bit and let's start building the footer and then the dynamic section in the middle of the page. So let's go back in our builder, add library, design sets. Let's go back to the atomic section that I really like. Let's get a section element. I want a footer, yes. Footer 3 columns. Perfect. Okay, let's select the full footer. Let's change it just few things. Perfect. I don't want to do any more heavy customization. So here, now we have this issue that pretty much everyone has. We created a footer and we want the footer to be at the bottom. Oh, we can also control the height of the footer. We can manually control the padding. And if you notice at the bottom right of the screen, when I change the padding, automatically this padding is giving me like the value that I'm changing, which is really interesting. I think that I would love to see is like the Command Z, Control Z to just actually go back. I would like to have some shortcuts from the keyboard that mapped to interact like a regular design tool, because this doesn't look like a page builder or like a template builder. This looks more like a design tool, which is really great, I guess. Like I feel really comfortable in this environment, but I wish there was like when I'm changing something, Control Z goes back to the previous setting. So a sort of like history undo, that would be really great to have it, but it's not a big deal. And also if I click Command S or Control S, I would like for this page to actually be linked to the save. I would like to the shortcode to be linked to the save. But these are extra things, and hopefully this implementation will be in some future updates that will be really great. But as I was saying, this is kind of like the situation everyone finds himself. We have a header and a footer, and these are repeated components that are everywhere. But if I don't have any content on the page, I want the footer to be stick to the bottom. And I can do it in a couple of ways in Oxygen app. First, I could actually do it with regular CSS. So I can select the footer, click on layout, and I have the ability to use a flexbox type of layout, or I can just put it in a absolute fixed position, and if I click position, I can put bottom 0, and this automatically goes to bottom 0. The problem with this solution is that having a fixed element, that means that all the content that is in the page will go underneath this element or above this element. And there are some tricks that you can use, just like give this element or the page the same margin or padding bottom that is equivalent to the height of the footer, but that's not dynamic. That you shouldn't do that. But of course, Oxygen Builder gives us the ability to have a content that is the same height of the screen and pushes the footer at the bottom, even if we have zero content inside here. So let's do it. Let's save this section as we added it, and let's add a new section. This time I don't want to grab it from the library, but I'm gonna grab it from the basic. So in basics, let's scroll all the way down to inner content. And inner content is pretty great because automatically prints whatever content WordPress has by default. So you remember before I was clicking through like sample page and a hello world. If we have here now, we are previewing the index. This is the default content that WordPress prints. If we change the preview to sample page, that it is the default page that WordPress generates, you see we have the content of the page. And we can of course put it in between the header and the footer. We can do it in a couple of ways, or using the visual editor, we can go here and drag it and try to put it at the same location. But if you don't want to mess it up, if you have a really complicated structure, if you don't know where actually to put it in a proper location, we can access the structure and we can drag and drop the structure and reorder it in a way more elegant way, in a way that it's less confusing, is not convoluted, and we can access also open all the sub levels of the structure and manage how it interacts, which is pretty great. So as I was saying, I want this content always to be at 100%, and I want to push the footer always at the bottom and never want to see this blank section here underneath. So let's select the inner content like we have right now. We can go in size and spacing, and we have the ability to have a min height of a minimum height of the element, not only in pixels, but in percentage, in viewport height, which is really great. So let's go in viewport height and let's say 100. So the minimum height of this content is going to be always the 100% of the viewport height. So it doesn't matter how tall is the browser of the user, the footer will always be at the bottom, and we can change it slightly, for example, to 90 view height, so it's not totally down, but at least is the minimum height. Even if we don't have enough content here, the footer is always gonna be at the bottom. This is kind of like a dirty trick, but it's amazing that Oxygen Builder gives us the ability to have this dirty trick without writing any CSS. Of course, you could do something more complex or something more elegant in a way that the CSS, the actual bodies, is 100% and the footer is always at the bottom. But if you want to do something more complex and you don't like to use predefined settings of Oxygen Builder, you always have access to the custom CSS of this section, so you can change how he behaves based on whatever you want to do. If you want to write some custom CSS, you want to write some custom media queries, you want to update the things, this is totally up to you. You can totally change how he behaves. And of course here we can customize other things. For example, if I want this to be max width of 900 pixel, and then I want this to be margin left and right auto, so I want this exactly at the center of the page, I can do it. So now we have sort of like our basic template. We have a header that it's consistent throughout, and the footer is consistent, and the inner content changes. So if we go back to our front end in Oxygen here, and actually, because I really don't like this editor here, I'm gonna update my user settings and I'm gonna remove the toolbar of WordPress. It's really annoying, the toolbar of WordPress, so we can update this. Perfect. Now we have our default template that behaves and interacts in the same way in every single page, because when we generated the template we said catch all, which is what we wanted. So now if we click on Hello World, we're gonna actually access the Hello World section, and the menu and the header, it's always consistent. And of course, if we see in responsive how it works and behaves properly, and it stacks, everything interacts in a proper way. We can open the menu, which is fantastic. So this was just like a super quick review to show you how you can generate a repeated element or a repeated template for Oxygen Builder and automatically use the default content of WordPress, which is really fantastic. So you could say that if you want to go back in the administration area and you want to generate another template, and say that that template, it's only available on a blog post, you can simply say create a template, check the singular, and check just all the post types. It doesn't matter what post type, apply that template to the post type, or apply the template to the post, or apply the template to the pages. So we can have like many different templates, one from the home page, one for the post types, one from the pages, one for the archive, that they all interact and they use the same elements, same components, but are completely different templates, and gives us the ability, full flexibility to customize these pages, which is pretty fantastic. Another thing that I want to do before concluding, I want to generate a new template and call it like landing page 1, I want to use a predefined library complete page from Oxygen Builder to see how it looks and how it's easy to interact and change it. So here, because this is the second template, we can inherit the default style of the default template, but we don't want to do it. Let's change these to be available only on the front page. So we're gonna just use it as a default landing page, which is what we want. If we update and we edit with Oxygen, this is what we get, completely empty, because we're overriding the default template. We're saying, hey, this page is just for the landing page, it's not for everything, and it's the second template that we created, so it comes before the initial one. If we click add, and I want to add a full library design set, and I want to have, you can see here we have some winery, financial, freelance. I want to check the freelance type of design, and I'll get a full template for my landing page. Oh, look at that, this is super slick. Let's go to main and let's generate the inner content. Nice. So I don't want this page to tap any inner content of WordPress, so I can remove this section because I don't care, and I can actually add all the things that I want and customize it dynamically from the same freelance template. Because here, yes, we have access to pages and sections and templates, but all this content is getting pulled dynamically from the WordPress administration area. But if I want to create a static landing page that I can edit and manage only from the actual builder, I can do it because I have access to all the separate sections and stuff that I can just simply pull and manage how I want. So let's say that in this section, I want to start directly with a hero and title here. Okay, hero section. There you go. And also James Green, I just want to change this. And of course, I never did it before, but because this is really intuitive, if you have to change text, just double click, select, and we have all the editing stuff that we want. And we can also insert dynamic data with tags directly from WordPress. So we can insert the post title, the feature image, the display, the author name, which is really, really great. But here, Alex, let's say Alex Castle. Just whatever stupid name I can come up with. Okay, let's add another section from the same element. And this is another thing that I really like about Oxygen Builder. It recognizes whatever section I'm in. So when I click add, I don't have once again to go, I want to go in the library, I want to select this type of design, I want to select this section, component, blah, blah, blah. Automatically recognizes my location, and I can grab whatever things I want directly from this section, which is pretty good. So let's go and let's have a list of benefits. Why working with me, it's beneficial. So web design, development, contact me. This is amazing. Look at that. We have also a list of icons. Oh, look at this. This is so good. So I can select the icon and I have a predefined icon set that I can change, and I can select the type of icon that I want. So it automatically pulls whatever. Oh my God, this is so good. Let's add another section. I'm having so much fun in here. I don't know if you notice. I want the full list of about. This is perfect. I can change these images. I can change the title. And then let's have the last section that, of course, is do we want a portfolio? Do we want a contact section? Yes, contact me with a little bit of information right at the bottom here. That's perfect. Yes, where I am, Los Angeles, California. Yeah, I'm in LA. No, I'm not here. And save this page. Well, I'd say let's go check how it looks in the front end. Shall we? Look at that. Oh my God, this is so good. This page is really good. This design is really, really good. Would you like to have this page? Like it took half a second to load all these assets. This is perfect. Look at that. I like this. And if we go to Hello World, because we set to Oxygen to catch all the other pages with the default template, it's gonna go to the default template again. And if you go to sample page, it's gonna use the default template. But if we go back to the home page, it's gonna use this one because we created after and it's overriding default template. So you can have multiple templates completely different with each other just by simply creating as many as you want and associating those templates to whatever section of WordPress you want, which is, it's amazing. It's pretty fantastic. I really like this page, how it does interacting, responsive. Oh, let's give it a try. Ooh, This is fancy. Yes. Look at that. This is perfect. Oh my God, I really like this. This is really impressive. This is really great design work and also building work. So another test, and this is the last test. Let's take a look at the source code generated by this thing because we wanna check. Okay, first, an amazing thing is that we don't have any console log error. We have a bunch of warning for mixed source, so for mixed content, because I'm using this test website in HTTPS, but some content is loaded in HTTP, especially like the icons, map, all this type of content upload that it's coming from this default template. Of course, all this content will not be there, most likely, because you will edit your content, all your images on your stuff with the actual things that you upload on your website. But I wish that Oxygen automatically would recognize if I'm on HTTP, on HTTPS, and automatically grab that specific type of URL. But probably these freelance Oxy host is not in HTTPS, so it cannot return in HTTPS, but it's not a big deal. These are just test content, so it's fine. I'm really impressed by the fact there is not a single console log error. The JavaScript is clean, it doesn't generate anything. How many API requests? We don't have any XHR request. How many HTTP requests? Okay, CSS. Okay, it's pulling normalized CSS, which is good. It's pulling our custom style, which is good. And then universal CSS. And then it's pulling, of course, Google font externally, which is pretty normal. So the CSS is not a big deal. JavaScript, oh, there's a lot of JavaScript going on here. Web font, separated, jQuery, jQuery migrate, WP embed, CommonJS, that it's using like the Google Maps stuff. Okay, there are a lot of JavaScript, overlay JS. Okay, there are a lot of JavaScript calls, which I guess they're really light. Like a bunch of them are like 1.6 kilobytes, 11 kilobytes, 800 bytes. So it's really, really light. What I would like to see maybe in the final version is that an option to generate everything for productions, of like having the ability in the administration of Oxygen to check something and say, okay, let's build this for production, and having a script that automatically grabs, squashes bundles of my JavaScripts together into one or two really small production ready JavaScript, like minified and optimized. This is gonna be really important for Google stuff, for like Google ranking, SEO, and optimization. But other than that, this is pretty good. Let me see if there's some inline stuff that I don't like in this source code. There are some inline things. Everything else is like minified HTML, which is not too bad. We have some inline jQuery stuff. This shouldn't happen. We can, come on. We can do it without jQuery at this point in our life. We can definitely do it. But everything else, all the icons are SVGs, so there's like 0 time loading, which is fantastic. And we have just the JavaScript call at the footer. Not too bad, not too bad. You could have a way worse type of source code, but this looks really clean and really easy to understand and really easy to manage. So it's not too bad. Yeah, I wish the JavaScript was squished and was all compact together, but it's not a big deal. Like, I mean, it's doable. It can be done, which is pretty great. Okay, I guess let's go back to the administration panel of WordPress. And of course, in the administration area, we didn't tackle pretty much 95% of the rest of the options. This thing is massive. It has so many options, so many things, but you notice in a few minutes how we were able to generate a custom template and then use a predefined template to associate and style just one single section. So it was really easy. Here we have the ability to upload our own custom SVG set, export and import component theming options so we can reuse stuff. We have a bunch of settings. We can add the license to get the updates, and we can also add the API token for Typekit. If we have some custom font used from Typekit, we can connect it here with Oxygen Builder. So I'd say it's pretty much it for this review. I'm not gonna test the product anymore because it's just, first, it's too long. I'm gonna spend like probably 8 hours keep testing and playing with this thing, but it's really impressive. It's really good. And it's just $99, let's say $100. I know it's not a cheap price, but this is not just a page builder. This is not just a regular plugin. It's something that you pay once in your lifetime and you get full updates, 30-day money back guaranteed, unlimited site license. It's not that you buy a license for $100, you can use it just for one site. You can use it as much as you want, as many times as you want. So literally, if you're a designer, or even if you're an agency or you're a freelancer and you have to build a lot of websites all together, you don't have the capability to actually code them all, and they have to look dramatically different, but you don't want to lose your mind in just developing things and just managing all the plugins. Buying once and charging the client for it, buying once Oxygen Builder and applying to all your website and building your career with Oxygen Builder, it's actually really doable, because it's not a bloated system, it's not a bloated software that it's heavy, and if you use it then you're stuck with that and you cannot even move outside. This is like a really serious solution for quickly building beautiful WordPress templates that you want to manage with a visual editor. So in conclusion, I'm really impressed by Oxygen Builder. I like how kind of everything changed respect on version 1. I don't know if you remember. If you want, you can check the previous video, the review that I did on version 1. I was already really impressed about the capability of Oxygen Builder, but I had a little bit of like weird stuff going on because it was really heavy to use in the administration area, the animations and transition, and the ability to access section, especially if your page was getting bigger and bigger with a lot of components. You would have noticed some slowdown in the interface, in the UI of the builder in the backend. The front end was has always been kind of good, so no issues in that, but my main stake on that was the experience in building a complex layout in the admin area was kind of like bloated, it was kind of heavy, it was kind of not fluid. Instead, the new version, it's really fluid. I like how the new design, the new UI, it's out of the way, it doesn't interfere with the design that you're building, and you have the ability to test responsive media queries directly in the builder. It's really good that developers of Oxygen Builder, they focus on improving the UI and the UX of the actual builder in the administration area. Your life will be way easier by using this instead of something way more bloated and way more heavier and something that is not as intuitive as Oxygen Builder. So $99, check it out, oxygenbuilder.com. And of course, as usual, let me know what you think. Did you use the first version? Did you use it after I did the review? What do you think about it? It's your website based on Oxygen Builder and you don't use it anymore because it's kind of outdated, it's kind of heavy to use, or you're thinking to actually jump on the bandwagon of template builders with WordPress, especially with the introduction of Gutenberg. Probably something is gonna break in your website. So are you gonna transition something more dramatic, more like definitive like Oxygen Builder, or you're thinking that this is like a too much of an overkill solution for your website? Let me know in the comment below. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, or a thumb down, and let me know if you don't like this review. Thanks to the developers at Oxygen Builder for giving me the ability and the opportunity to test this amazing software in preview. And thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Happy coding!